Hey there, and welcome to Sleepy Brain Science. I hope wherever you are right now, you're warm and comfortable. Maybe the lights are already off, maybe you're wrapped in your blanket, maybe your eyes are already getting a little heavy. Good. Because tonight I'm taking you somewhere very strange, very quiet, very ancient. We are going underground into a world that most people walk past every single day without ever noticing. A world of slow, silent, invisible threads spreading through the earth beneath your feet. A world that has been alive for over 1 billion years. Tonight, we explore the world of fungi. Take one slow breath in and let it go. Most people look at a mushroom and they think that's a plant, but it isn't. Fungi are something entirely different. They have their own kingdom, completely separate from plants, animals, and bacteria. They are, in a way, the quiet outsiders of the natural world. You see, plants make their food from sunlight, animals eat their food, but fungi do something far stranger. They grow directly into their food. They release chemicals that dissolve whatever they're touching from the outside, and then they absorb it slowly, silently, like a forest slowly dissolving a fallen tree over years and years and years. The part of a fungus that most people never see is not the mushroom. The mushroom is just one small piece. The real body of a fungus lives underground, or inside wood, or deep inside a rotting log. It's made of incredibly thin threads, thinner than a human hair. These threads are called hyphae, and together millions of them weave into a web-like structure called the mycelium. And the mycelium is one of the most fascinating things on Earth. Imagine a single teaspoon of healthy forest soil contains over 1 mile of these threads. 1 teaspoon, 1 mile. All of it invisible to the eye, quietly spreading, quietly working, quietly alive. Now here is where it gets really extraordinary. Beneath every healthy forest, beneath the roots of the trees, there is a network. Scientists have started calling it the Wood Wide Web, and it works something like this. The mycelium of certain fungi wraps itself around the roots of trees very gently, very carefully, and the two of them form a partnership. The fungus gives the tree minerals from the soil, phosphorus, nitrogen, things the tree can't easily reach on its own. And the tree gives the fungus sugars made from sunlight, which the fungus cannot make itself. They help each other. But it goes even deeper than that, because the same mycelium that connects to one tree also connects to another tree nearby, and another, and another. And through this underground web, trees can actually pass nutrients to each other. A large mother tree at the center of a forest can send extra sugar to a smaller, weaker tree growing in its shadow. Not by touching it, not by moving, but through the invisible threads of the fungus beneath the soil. Scientists have found that when a tree is dying, it sometimes releases a flood of nutrients into the network, as if it's giving everything it has left to the trees around it. There is something almost unbearably beautiful about that. A tree quietly in its final days, letting go of everything for the ones around it.
Fungi have been on Earth for a very, very long time. The earliest fungal fossils we've found are over 1 billion years ago. 1 billion. To put that in perspective, dinosaurs went extinct only 66 million years ago. Fungi were here before the dinosaurs, before most complex life had even evolved. And there's a theory, a fascinating one, that fungi may have actually helped life move from the oceans onto land. Because when the first plants began growing on bare rock hundreds of millions of years ago, the rock had very few nutrients. But fungi were already there, already breaking down rock into soil, slowly, patiently, creating the conditions that allowed plants to survive. In a way, without fungi, there might be no forests, no grass, no flowers, no trees. Without fungi, the land might still be bare rock and dust, quiet and still and empty. Here is something to think about as you drift off. Every leaf that falls from a tree, every animal that dies in the forest, every piece of wood that topples to the ground. Without something to break it all down, the world would slowly fill up with dead things. The carbon locked inside them would never be released, never recycled, never used again. Fungi are nature's great recyclers. They are the ones who quietly take apart what's no longer living and return it to the earth. A dead log lying in a forest might take years to fully disappear. But during all that time, dozens of species of fungi are working inside it, thread by thread, molecule by molecule, patiently unweaving it, turning old wood into rich, dark soil. And from that soil, new life grows, new trees, new plants, new mushrooms. It's a cycle that has been running without pause for hundreds of millions of years, long before any human ever walked the earth, long before there were words or thoughts or dreams. Just the quiet, patient work of fungi in the dark. Now let's take a slow walk through some of the strangest, most beautiful mushrooms in the world. There is a mushroom called the ghost fungus. It grows in the forests of Australia, and at night, in the darkness, it glows, a soft, pale greenish light coming from the wood it grows on. No one is entirely sure why it glows. Some scientists think it might attract insects to spread its spores. Others think it might just be a byproduct of the chemical reactions happening inside it. But whatever the reason, deep in an Australian forest at night, there are clusters of soft, glowing mushrooms quietly lighting up the dark for no audience at all. Then there is the puffball mushroom. Some of them grow as large as a basketball, and when they are ready to release their spores, a single puffball can release up to 7 trillion spores. 7 trillion, each one smaller than a grain of dust, floating off into the wind, invisible, drifting for miles and miles. Most will land somewhere they cannot grow and simply disappear. But 1 or 2 might land in just the right place, on just the right log, at just the right moisture. And from one tiny invisible spore, a new fungus begins.
There is also the bleeding tooth fungus. It looks like something out of a dream, a small, soft, white mushroom with bright red liquid seeping out of it. It looks almost like it is bleeding. But that liquid is not blood. It's a mix of water and chemicals the fungus produces. Scientists have found that these chemicals have antibiotic properties. They can actually kill certain bacteria. So somewhere in a quiet northern forest, a small white mushroom sits on the soil, dripping red, quietly producing medicine that no pharmacy has ever bottled.
For thousands of years, in cultures all across the world, humans have had a deep and mysterious relationship with certain mushrooms. There are rock paintings in Algeria believed to be over 7,000 years old that appear to show humans holding mushrooms. The ancient Aztecs had mushrooms they called teononocat, which roughly translates to flesh of the gods, used in sacred ceremonies to see visions, to feel connected to something beyond the ordinary world. And in Siberia, shamans used a bright red mushroom with white spots. That same mushroom, the one that appears in so many fairy tales, standing quietly at the edge of enchanted forests, as if it has always known it belongs to a world just slightly beyond this one. In 1928, a scientist named Alexander Fleming left a petri dish uncovered by accident. A mold drifted in from the air and landed in it, and where that mold grew, bacteria died. That mold was a fungus called Mycelium, and from it came penicillin, one of the most important medicines in human history. Before penicillin, a small infected cut could kill a person. A fever could be a death sentence. After penicillin, millions of lives were saved, all because a fungus drifted through an open window and landed in exactly the right place. One tiny spore quietly changing the world. Now this one is strange, deeply strange. There is a fungus called Ophiocordyceps. It infects insects, particularly ants, and once inside, it slowly begins to change the ant's behavior. It drives the ant to climb high up a plant stem, to clamp its jaws onto a leaf at a very specific height above the forest floor. And there the ant stays, and the fungus grows, and eventually releases its spores from above, raining down onto the ants below, beginning the cycle again. It sounds like science fiction, but it is happening right now in forests all over the world, quietly, without drama, without sound, just a fungus doing what it has evolved to do for millions of years. In the Malheur National Forest in Oregon, there lives a single organism that covers over 2,300 acres of land. It is a fungus called Armillaria ostoyae, or the honey fungus. It is estimated to be between 2,000 and 8,000 years old, and it is believed to be the largest living organism on Earth. Not a blue whale, not a giant sequoia, a fungus, most of it underground, invisible, silent, spreading slowly through the soil and roots of the forest above. You could walk through that forest for hours and never know you were walking over one single living thing. Fungi have been found in the most extreme places on Earth. In the cooling pools of the Chernobyl nuclear reactor,
where radiation levels are deadly to almost everything, a black fungus was found, not just surviving, but growing toward the radiation, as if feeding on it. Fungi have been found miles deep in the ocean floor, in Antarctic ice, on the outside of the International Space Station, exposed to the vacuum of space. They survived. There is something almost impossible to fully understand about that. Life, in its most patient, most adaptable form, finding a way, always finding a way. So tonight, as your breathing slows and the world outside gets quieter, think about the world beneath your feet, that invisible network of threads spreading through the soil in the dark, carrying nutrients, connecting trees, recycling the old into the new. Think about a glowing mushroom in an Australian forest, quietly lighting the dark with no one watching. Think about a puffball releasing 7 trillion spores into the wind and needing only one to land right. Think about a fungus that has been alive for 8,000 years, slowly, quietly spreading through a forest in Oregon. Fungi don't rush. They don't announce themselves. They don't compete loudly. They just work, patiently, in the dark, for millions of years, long before we were here, and likely long after. There is something deeply peaceful about that, something worth carrying into sleep. The world is full of quiet things doing slow, important work, and tonight, so are you. Rest now. Let everything go. You're safe. Good night.